Okay, in this video, we're going to review dividing decimals. Okay, we're going to start with, let's start with 5,423, and we're going to divide that by 34. Okay, now when we're dividing with decimals, it's really important to keep everything lined up well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take and make some lines on our paper. And I'm going to put a couple extra just in case we go out a couple of decimal places. Okay, let's start by taking 34 into 5. That won't go at all. 0 times 34 is 0. Subtract. Bring down the 4. 34 goes into 54 one time. And 1 times 34 is 34. Subtract. Bring down the 2. And 34 goes into 202. I think maybe 6 times. Let's come over here to the side and try it out. 1920. Oh, that went too many times. We've got to go down to 5. And that will be 170. Subtract that. And that is 32. Bring down the 3. And 34 will go into 323. I'm thinking that'll go in 8 times. Let's try that. And yes, it will. Might even go 9 times. Let's try 9. And yes, it will go 9 times. Oh, wait, just a minute. I'm always forgetting to do this. I forgot to put the 5 up here when we divided by 5. Remember to do that. I forgot. And here we're multiplying by 9. So let's put our 9 up here. That's 306. Subtract it. And that's 17. Now we have a remainder, but because we're doing decimals, we're not going to stop at the remainder. Instead, we're going to put a decimal right here and a decimal right here below it. And then we're going to attach a 0 to the end of the number. A 0 after a decimal doesn't change the value of the number at all, so we can do this. Then we'll bring the 0 down. And we have 34 into 170. Now if we look over here, we can already see we've done that. And that is 5 times. 5 times 34 is 170. And that leaves us with no remainder. And so 5,423 divided by 34 equals 159 and 5/10. Okay, let's do another example. Let's clear this one. Let's do one where we have a decimal in our divisor. Okay, let's take, for example, 18 and 4/10 divided by 2 and 3/10. This is our divisor, and we don't want to have a decimal in our divisor. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply this by 10, because when we multiply by 10, remember we can just move the decimal one over, making that 23. And to keep the same ratio, we need to, again, multiply this by 10 as well. And move that over there, and that becomes 184. So this is the new problem that we're going to actually divide. And the answer will be the same for both of them. 184 divided by 23. Again, let's make our lines. We're going to go a couple more in case we go out there with decimals. And 23 goes into 0, or they go 1 0 times. That's 0. Subtract it, bring down the 8. And 23 goes into 18 0 times. Subtract it, bring down the 4. And 23 goes into 184. Let's see, that'll go in. Actually, I think it's going to go in 8 times. Let's try it and see. And that will go in exactly 8 times. And we have no remainder. So in this particular case, we don't have a decimal in our quotient. This is our quotient. And so going back to our original problem of 18 and 4/10 divided by 2 and 3/10 is equal to 8. Now we can check our answer to make sure it's correct by multiplying. So let's take our 2 and 3/10 times 8. That's going to be 23 times 8. And we've got one decimal place. And so that equals 18.4. Is this the same as this? And yes, it is. So we know that we have the correct answer. And that's how you divide if you have a decimal in the divisor. Okay, one more thing real quick, because let's say, for example, we have 48 and 6/10 divided by 64 hundredths. We're not actually going to divide this, but we are going to take a look at how to get the decimal out of the divisor if we have two decimal places. Now, if we have two decimal places, we need to move it over two places, so we need to multiply it by 100. If we multiply this one by 100, we need to also multiply this by 100. This would move two decimal places. We'd have to fill that in with a 0. This would become 4,860 divided by 64. And that is how you divide with decimals. Oh, wait, we've got to do one more example because we didn't do one where we have to actually carry out to the decimal place. Let's see if I can find one. Let's try 1,558 divided by 95. Okay, let's make our lines to keep us lined up. Okay, 95 goes into 1, 0 times. It goes into 15, 0 times. It goes into 155 one time. Bring down the 8. And it goes into 608 6 times. Let's come over here and figure out what that is. That's going to be 54, 57. It's 570. That's going to be 38. Okay, we have a remainder. Oh, I forgot to put my 6 right here again. Don't forget to do that. And we're going to put a decimal here and a decimal here and put the 0 right here. Bring the 0 down. And 95 goes into 380. I think 4 times. Let's give that a try. And yes, it goes in exactly that many times. Okay, so we have 1,558 divided by 95 is equal to 16 and 4/10. And that is how you divide with decimals.